Welcome back inside the film room. I'm Zach Goins, and today I am joined by the best friend that everyone needs. It's Michael Urie. He plays Brian on Shrinking. Welcome to the show, Michael. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, first things first, congratulations, Shrinking. What a fantastic show. It's near and dear to my heart already, and I feel like a lot of people feel the same way. From January to now, we've got season one, we've got the success of all that. We've got season two on the way, big news. What has the last couple months been like for you as all of this has unfolded?
It's been so great. We shot the show last summer and then it went into the can and they started editing it and you kind of move on and think about other things and then we all came back together to start promoting it and seeing it.
Hmm.
Uh, and I was so proud of the outcome of the show. Like, we made it and I was like, this seems great. While we were making it,
Right.
you never know what's going to happen, what a show's actually going to look like, what a show's actually going to feel like, the music and all that stuff that gets put in later. And I mean, I was pretty optimistic given the people involved.
Right. It had a good pedigree.
Had a pretty good pedigree. Bill Lawrence knows his way around a show. I was really impressed with the directors, and the writing was so good. And
And the
and
cast. Don't forget the cast.
holy crap, the cast. So I was like, this could really be good, but you also don't know if it's going to be right time, right place with
Hmm.
television, Um, so then it came out, and turns out it was the right time and the right place.
Oh,
There's,
absolutely.
I think the ways in which the people on the show care for each other, help each other, love each other is exactly what people want right now.
Mhm.
And I'm so touched by the reception. I have found that I'm getting stopped on the street, in the airport, in restaurants more than I have in a long time. And more people that I know, like friends, colleagues, acquaintances, peers, are watching this show than I think anything I've done before. And I don't know if that's just because of like the people that I'm around, or if it's, I don't know, some
It's
kind of
really just that much of a broader reach that the show is that good. I
I,
think it's that.
I hope that's what it is. I hope that it's it definitely speaks to me as a show. I mean, I definitely watch
Oh
it, and
yeah.
I enjoy shows where people care for each other and help each other. And I also like the opposite. I also watch Succession, where everyone hates each other and tries to tear each other down. But I think, in a world of great cynicism, it's nice to see people be honest with each other.
Absolutely. And Brian is the prime example of that. Like you said, everybody in this show is the like warm, fuzzy, caring for each other, but there's a lot of negative stuff going on here. But with Brian specifically, he's Jimmy's best friend. We don't get a ton of him in that first. I don't think we get him at all in the first episode, but then you come in hot in the second episode with the Britney Spears ringtone right off the bat, and then saving the day with Sean as a lawyer, and then getting Jimmy out of his funk with the pickleball match at the end. And I think I love the thing about their friendship being that, they obviously haven't spoken in about a year after the death of Jimmy's wife, but still when they do finally get together, they're able to just pick back up. And I think that speaks very strongly to what you're talking about, of like the people who care about each other, even though you weren't there every step of the way, you're able to just resume that relationship.
Yeah, they do a great job in the show of creating relationships without giving a bunch of backstory. You
Mhm.
learn over the course of the series like how people know each other, but you don't, like they like to jump in the middle of a relationship, which I think is so great. And it I think it engages the audience in a way that makes them, and that forces them to invest. And I love that. I think that's such a smart way to write. So often on TV, you get all the information up front, and there's all this backstory. They call it pipe in TV, laying pipe, and it's just all this information. And this show
Uh-huh.
just jumps right in. You don't know how they know each other. You
Right.
don't. Oh, they know each other. Oh, look, they know each other. Um, and it's wonderful that way. It's so much richer to glean all that stuff as you
Mhm.
watch. And this is a show about relationships and about taking care of each other's mental health. I also feel like that's something that we're talking about in the world more now than we were, say,
For
4 years ago, is our own mental health. I mean, we just had a senator check himself into a hospital because of mental health reasons. That's never happened. I mean, not that we know of. That's never really
Right.
happened.
But the
And
ability to talk about all of this and be more open about it, like having a show like Shrinking, that is, this is like the central premise of the show, that it's trying to, take that stigma away.
exactly,
But
exactly. I think we're ready for it as a society. I think this is the time for us
absolutely.
to talk about this stuff.
Absolutely. Well, with Brian and Jimmy, like the way that they take care of each other, talk about their mental health, I think something about Brian that I love is that he is very unabashedly himself, this character that, he's got this mantra, everything goes my way. And we learn in that second episode when we're first meeting him that, that just wasn't the right thing for Jimmy at that time in his life. He just lost his wife. He doesn't need someone who's everything goes my way. But at the same time, like that's very valid. But at the same time, Brian didn't have to change who he was. And I think that that just goes back to this character, Brian, is himself and he lives the way that he wants to live every single day, no matter whether it works for you or it doesn't. And I love that about the character.
Yeah, I do too. And I love that even he apologizes, but at the end he's like, I never said everything goes your way.
Yeah.
Like that's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Fair is fair. And this can be water under the bridge and we can get back to normal. Um and I think that that's a real thing that I didn't really even realize this. Um Somebody pointed this out to me after seeing the show. They were like, so Jimmy just ghosted Brian for a year, and now we're starting to realize that that was a way of helping himself. So he did that because he needed to do something. So he pushed Brian out of his life because he needed to hit rock bottom, and Brian wasn't going to let him. Whether
Right.
or not that was the right move, that's what he thought he needed to do. And maybe that's what we all do. I mean, like, maybe there are times in our lives where we're like, I can't be around that person. Or, you know what? I'm not going to go to this place for a little while because it hurts me.
Hmm.
Or I'm not gonna wear this outfit because I don't like the way I feel in it. Or I'm not gonna watch that show because I don't like the way it makes me feel. Things like music. I mean, I think there's a lot of different things like music. That song makes me sad. I'm not going to listen to that song anymore. I think that we do that. We all do that. And I never really thought about it that way, but it's our own way of it's our own self-medication.
Right. It's
Sometimes
like it's not against Brian. It is self-preservation for Jimmy that he is doing what he needs. But Brian can't see that the way that it's coming across there. So it's, I agree with you. It's not something against someone, but it's more for that internal self.
yeah. And so it's sort of like next time you think someone's mad at you, maybe give them the
Maybe,
benefit of the doubt. They're just working on something and you can't be part of it. They need you out of it for a little while. And I mean, we all do it, and it's tough. Adult relationships are hard, but it's I think it's natural and it's healthy, and I'm glad we showed that in the show.
yeah. Well, that motto of everything goes my way, I know that that has truth in real life stemming from Bill Lawrence himself, that this was sort of his early career motto as he's just sorting his way through the industry. How did that come across when you're reading the character, when you guys are putting the show together? Did he approach you and say, "Hey, by the way, like this is something that I used as my mantra," or how did that conversation happen?
He did. He said this is based on me. It drives everyone crazy. And then he even told a story. He was like, he was like, he was playing tennis with somebody, and they left, and they were in the car, and they were driving away, and he's like, oh, I lost my wedding ring. And the guy was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And he's like, don't worry about it. I'll find it. Everything goes my way. And his friend was like, you know how annoying it is when you say that? That drives me crazy. Why do you always have to say that? It makes everyone around you feel terrible about themselves. And Bill was like, gosh, I never really thought about it like that. You're right. Oh, here's my wedding ring. And like that's totally that's it's like so that's if you met Bill, that's so Bill. And it's such a fun quality in a character. It's something that makes people crazy and makes you love them as well. And obviously there's more to it than that. And Bill would be the first one to admit that like there's more going on than just that.
Right.
Even if it's true that everything goes his way. And for Brian, it's kind of true that everything goes his way. Even though that's masking other stuff. There's other stuff going
Right.
on, there's insecurities, and there's there's
The below the surface.
yeah,
There's stuff
there's,
like the what's the term that Gabby uses, the trauma informed avoidance, about not wanting to propose, whether the insecurity there, the obviously the issues with his father and whether he'll support him as his best man. Not everything is going his way. He may say it, but it doesn't make it true. But I love
right.
the relationship with Jessica Williams' character with Gabby that these two develop. Specifically, I can't remember the episode, but when you go to visit her at work and you have the chat on the couch, I just love the back and forth there and the digging into this character, that there is, like you said, so much more but behind that mantra below the surface that's affecting Brian.
Yeah, I love that too. I love how this show pairs up characters that you don't see together all the time,
Mhm.
and you never know who's going to be on the couch and who's going to be with the
Right.
pad. Like it's always like like I never imagined when I got the job that I would unload to Gabby, or that I would give advice to Harrison, to Paul.
Right.
Like I didn't know where these relationships would end up. And I think it's so clever and so wonderful of the show that like every two-person scene, someone's on the couch. And you never know who it's going to be, and you never know who in this like little menagerie of characters is going to be the one to help someone else.
Right. There's so much. Every character, you said it right. Like every character has some sort of crossover connection with every other character, it seems. And it's not just like a scene in passing, but there's something real there, something, some depth to the conversation. And looking at Brian, obviously he's got the relationship with Jimmy, he's got Gabby, he's got Liz, he's got Paul. Was there a favorite relationship for this character that you experienced in season one?
Well, the one with Jimmy is so like it feels so real to me, and I've got best friends who are straight guys, so like I get that relationship, and
Right.
I don't think we see it very often, the straight guy gay guy relationship, um, but it's real and it's fun, and um, I'm so I love that, and I love that they're reconnecting, but also picking up where they left off.
Right.
Um, so that one's probably my favorite. I would be sad uh, to have less of that
Moving
relationship.
forward.
But my gosh, is it fun playing with Harrison and Jessica for totally different reasons. I mean, Jessica is maybe the greatest improviser I've ever worked with.
Oh
So
yeah.
you never quite know what's going to come out of her mouth, and it's sometimes just like genius, like line to God stuff. Um, then Harrison's a legend. I mean, my God, he's been working,
Everything.
everything. He's been working for so long, and sometimes you're in a scene with him, and you're like, oh my, it's like you're watching TV. You forget you're there, and also he's like an actor. He's just like any other actor. He doesn't behave differently than other actors. He
Mhm.
approaches the work the same way that other actors do. Every scene is its own thing. All right, what do we do? How do we approach this? It doesn't matter if it's in an office or if it's in in a car. It's always like, what is this scene about? How does this scene work? And he loves it. He
Mhm.
likes to pretend to be a crank, but he actually loves work and he loves acting. And it's really it's so nice to see. Like he turned 80 while we were shooting the show.
Mhm.
And I was like, I want to be that happy when I'm 80. I want to be working as much as he does and enjoy it this much.
Right.
Um, so, but then there's all these other characters that I want
Right. There's so much more to come. I feel like we know we're getting a season two. Is there one that you want to explore more? When I was speaking with Lukita Maxwell, who plays Alice, she's like, you know, we have this, Michael and I have this like backstory that we have created because it's my dad's best friend. Like we have, there has to be something there. We don't really see it on screen. And so she was all on board of the, you know, let's get Alice and Brian in some more scenes together. Is there one that you want to explore more?
That would be my first. That would be mine too. Is Lukita, is Brian and Alice, because I've known her since she was born.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of people trying to parent her. You know, so like there's not really room for that. And also Brian was so focused on fixing things with Jimmy that he wasn't going to go. But I do think there's a really sweet relationship there. Being Jimmy's best friend and being somebody who married her parents and who's known her since she was born. There's something really sweet about that relationship, and I would love to explore that more. I loved working with Luke Tenney, and Krista Miller, who I got to work a little bit more with. I didn't get to do much with Luke, but I also this relationship with Derek. So funny. Like there's such a like this sort of oil and water thing when they're actually kind of similar. They have a similar disposition. They're very different. They're different, you know, demographics. Obviously, he's older and straight. But
they have the same like happy-go-lucky kind of like, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. They sort of lead. They like lead with positivity in the same way, and it makes Brian crazy, which is I think hilarious. So I'd like to see more with them too. I mean, I just want more and more and more. It's so juicy. All of it's so juicy.
Give us more of everything. Well, Michael, I appreciate you stopping by. It was great chatting shrinking. I'm excited for, you know, everything to come with shrinking in awards season, for season 2, for, you know, every step of the way. So I appreciate it. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Zach.